Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another Spotlight interview with Global Thought Leaders, an initiative by RightSource Global. I am Zishan Pathan, Director of Client Services at RightSource Global and a council member of Global Thought Leaders. Along with me, I have my colleague, friend, and a council member of Global Thought Leaders, Heval Mehta, the Chief Growth Officer at RSG. Global Thought Leaders is a platform for industry stalwarts to cross-pollinate with their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices to inspire each other and future thought leaders. Through Spotlight interviews, we strive to bring the community of eminent personalities together from across the globe. We bring the expertise of various functions, roles, and sectors together on one platform to inspire future leaders. We have one such industry stalwart today on the spotlight with us, Major Pratima Pinto Thomas. Pratima is a renowned individual in payments bank industry, in payments industry, I would say, right? I would request Heval to introduce our today's eminent personality. Over to you, Heval.
Well, thank you so much, Zishan, for giving me an opportunity to introduce Major. It's always an honor when I discuss something about Major Pratima, I read something about Major Pratima, and yes, it's an honor to speak with her today and learning many things today. Well, what I know is Major Pratima is an experienced senior human resource professional with a demonstrated history of working in accounting industry, retail industry, and defense sector. Skilled in budgeting, talent management, employee engagement, and employer branding. A Gallups Certified Strengths coach working with youth with a post-graduation in HRDM and Business Management from JBIMS and NMIMS, Mumbai. We welcome Major Pratima on Spotlight.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Heval. Thanks, Jishan. And I guess I am delighted to be here and being put onto a platform with so many other global thought leaders, while I might say that I would probably put myself, or rather call myself, an aspiring future thought leader. Thanks for putting me there.
Yeah, thank you so much, Pratima, for being there today on Spotlight with us. Your journey is inspiring to the professionals in all the functions apart from the one you are into, right? So there is an unheard story behind your success, Pratima, right? And so we would really like to know about that. So what are the key highlights of your journey from the beginning of your career till the current role of head HR at Fino Payments Bank?
Well, I believe one of the key highlights is probably there in my name. Although I've not put it out here on my Zoom title. But yes, the very fact that you said Major Pratima Thomas, the key highlight comes from here. Out of my 20 odd years of service, or rather in my professional career space, 10 years of my youth and my younger days were with the armed forces. I was an Indian Army officer. And in that period, I also had the privilege of working with the United Nations for a year in the Peacekeeping Observer Force in Israel and Syria. Post quitting the armed forces, I did join the retail industry with organizations like Vijay Sales, the SR Group, which actually took me through a lot of HR operational mandates and operations areas, post which I joined the Financial Advisory Network with BDO India. And that actually honed my organizational scaling up skills, right from policy making to talent acquisition to talent mapping, etc. And bringing it all together, now here I am with Fino Payments Bank, heading their HR. I believe the unlearning and the learning were the key highlights throughout my journey, Each of it was different. Each of the organizations, each level, each role had a lot of learning as well as unlearning to do, which helped me bring out my inherent skills of adaptability, learning, and hone my leadership skills, mainly to do with advisory aspect. Yeah, that is required at the leadership level.
I must agree that's an inspiring journey so far, Pratima. And we wish you all the best for the future as well.
Thanks.
And as you mentioned that you have brought some changes into the function, right? So what are the key changes you brought in your function to make it more efficient and effective, especially when you're working in a fintech domain?
While I am in the fintech domain, I would probably put it that I would have done the same thing anywhere and everywhere. What I, at this level, being at a leadership level, when you want to kind of drive an objective, drive a change, drive or be a facilitator, be an advisor to your peer leaders around you, what you need to be is abreast with what is happening around you. So what I did first was build around myself, brought around a change within my team, within my peers, and I tried to bring in an input system to what I want to learn, to what I can learn, say from internal parts of the organization, as well as build an input system from outside, that is the external market, etc. Typically, consultants like all of you, wherein I get my external updates from. And putting this all together required a complete data input system with which I could help facilitate and put together my views, bring about certain changes, bring about certain advisory aspects in the work. So first and foremost, the change was put together a great input system, both internally and externally, so that we could move as fast as possible to stay abreast with the needs of the business, to bring in that agility.
Definitely, Pratima. So, in fact, the next question, would really interest many people, and that's about dealing with the millennials, right? So, Pratima, dealing with the millennial workforce has become a different ball game, as the younger generation prefers work-life balance with flexible schedules and telecommuting. What are the principles you suggest for the fluid task management with gig economy?
I do not want to blame it totally on millennials. It's not just millennials who want flexibility and their own me time. It's everyone, all of us, you, me, everyone wants that to happen. And I believe this last 1 year, it has shown us the way as to how we could probably give that to our teams, to our employees. And I would want to probably put it to another aspect. I feel each organization is at its own requirement. It is at its own milestone in its journey, of growth. And hence priorities will be very, very different for each organization. No one size fits all policy would be able to, meet the needs of the people in the organization. Everyone, you would have an organization which is at its start, at its thing, but it requires everyone to put in probably not just those X number of hours. It requires X multiplies or raised to the power of N to be brought in. Some organizations are at its stable curve. They're at their platform, the saturated the platform part of it, where they need to just keep that sustainability and keep going that way. So each organization needs to first learn and understand where are we, what do we want from our employees, and what it is at this level that we can give to them. And then the next part is to help the organization communicate it to that employee, be it a millennial, be it a middle-aged employee, be it a gig worker, or be it an employee, full-time employee. Not all organizations can go in for gig employees, certain regulated, certain functional roles, etc. Not everyone can probably have that bandwidth. So we would need to first recognize what is the stage of our business, what is the requirement of that business, where all we can bring in that flexibility, where all we can customize, where all we can bring in that level of automation, to help that task management which we are talking about, from a full-time employee, from a gig worker, from someone, and sew it all together. And most important is that how do we find a way to communicate what's best for us and for him, to bring it onto a common platform and put it across to the employee. I believe that win-win situation communication is the most important. And if we are able to show that sense of what's in it for him or her, whether it's a millennial or whether it's a gig employee, whether it's a full-time employee, believe me, he would be there with us, for us, and, with him, for him, sort of. Yeah.
I must acknowledge that these were amazing insights, Pratima. And you also talked about some automation and bringing in transformation, right? HR function per se is undergoing a rapid transformation. So how do you see it evolving in near future, keeping in mind the latest developments in artificial intelligence and machine learning on natural language processing?
I feel probably even before this last 1 year, and I'm sure we must be speaking about this in most of the forums, that in this last 1 year, HR function has become like the go-to function, whether it was with respect to communication, whether it was with respect to cost cutting, whether it was respect to bringing in efficiencies, whether it was, social engagement. And now at the, just in between the two surges of the waves, we had a scale up and a lot of recruitment happening. So in all these aspects, HR was probably at the forefront of business, trying to, deal with things, the most important go-to advisor for any CEO probably. And we've spoken a lot about it. But I guess even before the pandemic, the HR has been, or rather had been, aspiring in small ways to, create, or rather go towards that transformational aspect, bring in that kind of technology and automation that was required. Till date, we all spoke about customer experience. We did everything for our customers, external customers. Marketing would find ways of understanding the customer's needs, customizing what we can give to him, making note of his interests, making note of everything. I keep reiterating to my team, when we bring in an employee, we get him to fill a huge application blank, of his hobbies, interests, social things. Where are we tracking it? How are we being able to make use of that data of my employee to engage with him socially, to engage with him, more in depth, on a real-time situation, on a real-time basis. We are all happy, or rather there was a time when, Facebook and everything, rather LinkedIn, and it's ongoing even today, when it's the real-time appreciation, real-time, engagement that was there is actually keeping everyone hooked. When is, it's time now, it's high time that the HR starts engaging its employee on a real-time basis with these data points. And for that, collection of these data points is very, very important. And I believe that is where we can bring in the required AI and the machine learning. Let your application blank not stay in that resume and in that HRMS system that we have, but let all these systems now work for us, for our bit of, say, 1,000 employees, or our 3,000 employees, or our 5,000 employees. Let that system work for us let that data start working for us so that we have a real-time engagement with our employees. We talk about having a digital delivery officer for our products to our customers. We are hearing, especially in the fintech space, we have a lot of positions like, digital delivery officer, the digital head of digital delivery, head of digital experience, digital products in a lot of BFSI sectors. And I keep wondering, I keep telling my HR team, I said, where is our digital experience that we are passing on to our employees? And given the situation that we are in now, where we are talking about a hybrid model, we are talking about work from home, we are talking about gig economy, bringing in that digital experience for our employees as our internal stakeholders is very, very important. And that is where AI and ML and NLP will all help us put together in our HR transformation journey. And I guess to sew it all together, if we are able to collect all this data, put into it our human empathetic touch, I feel we would have cracked the code.
Amazing insights, Pratima, on that. Yeah. And I'm sure you would have done that to a very large extent for the organization as such, and you are the pioneer into the people strategy as well, right? So when we talk about some key people strategies which are helping organizations to promote diversity and inclusion, what is your take on that? What are the key people strategies which are helping the organizations to promote diversity and inclusion?
Now, this topic, personally speaking, okay, and let me break it into parts. Personally speaking, I would say my strategy for bringing in the kind of diversity, I would say see merit and fitment into the role in the best interest of the business if you need a sustainable approach. Because if you talk about diversity without thinking, or rather without bringing in the sustainable business benefits, or rather the business approach, it may not be successful in the long run. And if you want it to be sustainable, if you want that strategy or that activity or that plan to work for you, see the merit and the fitment of the individual or of the role when you are trying to bring the person into the system. When it comes to inclusion, I would just say probably irrespective of gender, race, creed, religion, choices, inclination, that piece, we would let us only talk about merit and business needs and the overall sustainable needs of the organization. However, when it comes to disabilities, people with disabilities, I personally feel, yes, we need to make a conscious effort, because we would not be able to see what is the possibilities with the disability if we don't give it a try. And hence, disability area is somewhere where I feel is something that I would push for personally, to be included and to be brought into a workspace, to see how well it works for us, to see how well the person could fit into the organization or fit himself, see himself as in a stable career growth. So I would treat all the other aspects on one side, but yes, disabilities on one side, and try to pitch in for that space a little bit more than the others.
Great thought, Pratima.
Yeah.
In fact, jumping on to the next question, which really would interest a lot many people across, right? The aspiring future thought leaders would really learn from the mistakes, right? And so can you share some mistakes that future thought leaders must avoid aligning their goals better? It would be definitely a value add coming it from you.
I go back to my first statement that I made at the start of the conversation, that I consider myself as an aspiring future thought leader as yet. And speaking for myself, I would firstly say don't get afraid of mistakes, or try not to, or don't try to stop doing things or avoid doing things with the fear of mistakes. Mistakes will happen. You will fall. I have fallen, but it was all about how we could just gather up our bits and pick ourselves up all together. Couple of things: don't lose an opportunity to do something, to try something new, just because you haven't done it before or it hasn't worked for you before. It may just add to your knowledge bucket. So please go in, or rather, in my space and capacity, I would really love to take up new things, new avenues to add to my bucket of things that I need to do all the way. Second is speak up. Whenever you believe you have a point to make, don't shy away from speaking it up, speaking it out, especially in your peer group, at your table. And allow your team members to speak up, the younger generation to speak up, because we all are in the space to learn and grow. Keep visiting the impact of your actions, because that is going to help us correct, that is going to help us rise to higher limits, to stronger avenues. Yes, these are the three aspects that I would want to put.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Pratima. So, Pratima, we have been building this global thought leaders community for cross pollination of the knowledge, right? What are your thoughts about this initiative?
It's a very good initiative, Zishan. While I said I would want to place myself as an aspiring thought leader, and I'm sure there are many of us out there whom you are trying to bring together, and that itself is building such a strong network, allowing us to communicate, allowing us to be heard, allowing us to put out our thoughts. We never know when we would be able to influence and get influenced ourselves. So I would say this is a wonderful initiative, a lot of learning there for all of us, who are associated with this initiative.
Well, I would really like to add and thank for this wonderful conversation with Major. Uh, Always in our spotlight interview, we learn something new. We get to know something new on regular basis, how we need to act and react on things. Well, I would say the spotlight on few words that I really like in this conversation. First thing is keeping in mind this current situation, communicate with your people. That's very important. Just a phone call that, hey, how you doing? Small bits and pieces, that will keep a strong connect with you and your teammates. The other thing that I really liked, and it's a spotlight again for me, that's employee engagement on real time basis. Appreciate. Good job, you've done this on time. Good job, we are on track. There is no harm in appreciating anyone, but these small things will really take your teammate to the next level. And at times there are certain things which are not aligned. It's done proactively. So this is an impact that we create. The final spotlight, which is one of my favorite, and which I'm sure all my viewers and listeners will get same answer from all the stalwarts till now we've interviewed, that is, don't get afraid in making mistakes. I would now say that making mistakes will make you perfect, if not now, in near future. Also, one very important thing, learn from your mistakes and try to avoid making the same mistakes again and again. There are many things that Major Pratima has covered in today's session. These are some bits and pieces, what I have just discussed with you and what I have just informed you. But yes, watching this video, I'm sure our future leaders will get a decent message and it will definitely help in their career growth. So thank you so much, Major Pratima, for giving us this valuable time today. And we are really honored to have this wonderful conversation and learn a lot from you today. Thank you so much, Major Pratima.
Thank you so much, Heval. Thanks, Jishan. It's always been good interacting with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor.